attention even here in New York as I'm here for work. I also just did a press statement and interview with a news person about the murder that happened in my district at a liquor store yesterday. All death is bad. And to me, if you're anti-violent, you're against violence of all kinds. I don't know if I need to say that because I'm co-sponsoring this or not, but I'm somebody who also survived 2 gun violence incidents and someone who has worked actively in the community, not just with thoughts, prayers, and press conferences, but has worked against violence in the community in Louisville for years, stopping people from committing violence. The issue for me, and I really respect the committee here. I'm not on this committee as a councilwoman. I'm the newest council person, but I'm attending because as a co-sponsor, I think it's important for us to explain some of our reasoning because the forces have mounted against this. I need you all to know that we've been in good faith in communication with the Jewish Federation of Louisville, with a rabbi, with so many different people from different areas and different parts of the community. There's been overwhelmingly support, not just the people you see in the audience, and thank you all for being there, but there's been support. I go to Frankfurt, I go all over the state, and people, Jewish people, are coming up to me and saying, thank you for doing the right thing. And the right thing is not always easy for people, but I always side on the people. I side with the overwhelming greater good. And this legislation, although some people think it's meaningless, it means something to a great deal of our Palestinian community, our Black, brown, and immigrant community, and so many people. I stood out there with the Ukrainians. I was there and I supported that. And I was proud of the Metro Council for passing that legislation unanimously. I was very proud. And I will respect and honor any legislation that was passed before me. That is my duty. In my duty of service, there's been a lot of legislation, whether I agree with it or not, I have to support it. I've also been that person that's been in the audience for over 20 years. I didn't just show up, but for also over 20 years, I've been connected to this Palestinian issue when Palestinian youth have come here through many means to do performances, to talk about how they're waking up to bombs and violence. I've been there. So this isn't something I'm just hopping on or something that I just want press time. I want the committee members to understand that you have an overwhelming support of this ceasefire resolution and that we, myself, and Councilman Arthur have worked tirelessly to try to make sure that this language is as acceptable as possible. Somebody even said maybe it should be boilerplate. Here's the thing. This means something to people in our community who have families that are impacted by this. This means something to Jewish people who don't agree with what's been shared by my colleagues earlier. There are people who want to be on the right side of history and who want to know that their elected officials are there. And Councilman Arthur and I would gladly sign or co-sponsor any Louisville ceasefire legislation. The problem is that many of you have not done gun violence work, right? It's the reality. But what we're asking for now means that both and can be true. We can be against what's happening in our streets. We can support a ceasefire that brings people understanding and feels like their leadership is listening to them. We can do both. We can chew bubble gum and walk. These are two things that are important. And Martin Luther King said, we must have a world perspective. This is our world. And if you've traveled out of the city, if you've traveled out of the state, you know how much the people all over this world watch our country. They watch our laws. They listen to our legislation. And over 70 cities have similar legislation. This is not just something we're doing to add to our resume. This is something that means something to the people that are right there in front of you holding signs. I was those people.
Can we
and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Arthur.